Hey guys, Chris Fayte with Cheat the Game coming back at you, and today we're going to be discussing how we can use our cap value that's in a completely different part of memory, and how we can use it in our script that is actually from an opcode in a different part of memory. And these two are not located near each other. The registries aren't the same in these two different locations, but we still need to use that value. And basically what I'm doing is I'm going to be using the breath cap, which is located in a different section, and to write our breath cap to our breath meter in Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Now I know we don't really need to do that for this particular cheat. We can just have the value write itself directly to the address. However, this is a good technique that you need to learn, and there's another reason I'm doing this that I'll explain in just a second, but this is a good technique that you need to learn, because there are certain cheats that you do that do require that you need to use the cap, such as XP. If you're trying to do instant level ups, things like that, you need the current and the cap to be active with each other. So this technique is really helpful for situations in which you will need your cap value, and that really is beneficial with your cap value and stuff like that. So also another reason I'm doing this is showing you how we can do an injection copy. And, you know, I've always recommended in the past that we do an injection copy in a place in memory that is constantly being accessed, because we're not really changing anything. We're just trying to grab some information that we can use. And in this case, the injection copy would be the base address. That way we can have Cheat Engine always find addresses that we're particularly wanting. However, our breath cap is not constantly being accessed anywhere. It's only accessed when it actually needs to write to it or needs to access it, like when we go take a breath. So what we do is we look in that structure of other values that are with that cap value, and we're going to use a completely unrelated value to help us always find our breath cap that we can use in another script. So that's basically, it's really two lessons in one, and they kind of work in conjunction with each other, so it should be really good. Let me go ahead and bring everything up, and I'll be right back with you. Alrighty, so I brought the game up, and the game is updated since I last recorded or did any cheats with it, so I'm going to have to refind it anyway, so I just thought I'd do it from scratch. If you have not seen the breath video, I go into it in full detail. I'm not going into that detail here in this vid. It's basically a continuation from that last breath video, okay? But like I say, this is a technique. It's not really to teach you just to hack breath. This technique will really serve you well in all other games, so this is a great technique that you definitely want to learn. So let's go ahead and do that. So let me just quickly go ahead and attach to the game. No, I do not want to load my associate table. We're just going to do it from scratch here. And extreme simple values only, and we remember that our breath was 50 at the start of the game. And I always like trying to use my caps if I can, because, you know, if you go up in values later, like when your player increases XP and stuff like that, you know, I always kind of like to keep it with the cap. That way it just fluctuates with the cap itself. So that's why I like using the caps when I can, but you don't necessarily have to. Let's go underwater and back up. Let's redo that scan. I don't know if it started out with 50 if it hadn't written to it yet, so let's do it again. It's always best to make sure that that value is used. Alright, so let's go underwater, and we'll decrease. We're down to 45. I don't see the 30. I hope okay, there's some right there. Let's see. Decrease some more. 18. Alright, one of them got to be it, so let's go back up. Alright, we got 4 different ones, so we know that only one is a good internal code, so we just have to just kind of experiment to see which one the internal value is. And for those new that are asking me, saying I'm not able to, every time I change the value it still goes back to what it previously was, it's because you changed the display code or something that is not the internal value. You always want to find what the internal is. The internal dictates what is written to the other display values. It controls all of it. So that's the one you always need to find. So let's go underwater, see, and we're just looking to make sure it doesn't continue to go down, and it doesn't, so that means one of the top two is the internal code, so we can get rid of the bottom two. We just need to find out which one the internal is, so we turn off one of them, and it's going down, so we know that second one is the internal code, not the top one. See, when you just change the display code, the internal will still make it go down. So alright, so this is our internal code right here. Let's go back up, let it go back to 50, and that's good. And basically what I want to do is this, is I want to go find, and remember how we found the cap last time? We had to go to that that little pocket, that air pocket, to find it. So that's what we're going to do, and we're going to see what's writing to it when we go to that air pocket, because that air pocket is writing in a different, completely different location in memory from where it's normally writing to breath. So we had to find that out the hard way too. So we'll go ahead and get to that location. And here's the air pocket up here. Now we want to really pay attention to the debugger, because boom, you see those two that popped up? We took a breath. That's how we're going to find our cap location. Here's where it's writing to it. XMMO is writing to the address here. So we go to it, and you remember what we did last time? We looked above, seeing what was going on with XMMO, and we determined here, after finding what addresses this instruction accesses, we determined that this RAX plus 20C was indeed our cap. So what we want to do is grab a notepad and just remember and just put down 20C so we don't forget our offset, because we're going to need that here in just a minute. And let's go ahead, go back under. Now we're going to go back up, and there's our cap. I accidentally had it on 4-byte, and other people have been asking me too. When you search for 4-byte values, it actually searches for 4-byte and float values, believe it or not. This is a float value in its 4-byte form. However, when you search float, it's only looking for float. Okay, so yes, you can find your float values with 4-byte. They just kind of look like this. That's the decimal form of it. So when we turn it to float, you can see that's actually 50. So, and that was to answer another question I had this week. So if that person is watching, you see it. Alright, so we can go ahead and stop that. And that's what we need. So what I did is I went to here to browse memory region. We changed the display type to float. And you can see, and this is what I want to show you here. Here is our cap. And we can see that's used in conjunction with our particular current breath. Okay, so we know that that is our cap. That's where it's located at. And then when you look around the values, you can see it's located with a bunch of different caps for different other reasons. And just for the sake of time, let's go ahead and make sure this debugger's off. I'm still going to keep it up because we still need to write a script, and we're going to write it at our normal location that's writing to it all the time. It just ain't writing to it when we go to an air pocket. But this is our normal writing location that we're actually going to put the script on. So what we need to do, if we put a debugger on that value, which is this same thing, it's the same address right here. You can see same address, same value being stored at that address. I could put the debugger on it here, find out what accesses, or you can do it in browse memory view by going to data breakpoint, come down here, find out what accesses. This address is the same thing. So when we go down here, we take a look, and you can see when we let go, nothing is constantly reading it or writing to it. It's only being accessed when we go up and take a breath. So that means that's not a very good injection point. We need to find an injection copy in a place that's constantly being monitored, or something that is doing it almost constantly anyway. And that's what we're going to find here. So what you do is you go to each one of these. They're in the same structure, so that means that the same base address is being used for these. Okay, because we know that that's at 20C, remember? So we know these others are the same base address, just at with different offsets, and these values. So what you do is you go put one on each, and what you do is you want to find one that may be constantly being accessed. So we put that on, we go test it out. So we let go, and we see when we're underwater, we see that this one is constantly being accessed. It's not just being accessed when we go up and take a breath. So that's one we can use. That's a good one. And you can test out others as well, but it doesn't really matter. And this is the 1EC. We don't even know what this value is. I have no clue what that value is for. All I know is I'm trying to get this to be found, the 50. So I'm using this completely unrelated value to help us find our breath cap. So that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to go to this place in memory for right now. And like I say, this section of memory has nothing to do with our breath cap. You can see 20C is nowhere even in here. Okay, completely unrelated part of memory. Has nothing to do with our breath cap, but it can help us find our breath cap, and we know that this particular function is constantly being accessed when we're underwater. So that's good. So we're going to use that for our injection copy. And if you don't know how to do injection copies or don't understand what injection copies are, it's just a method in which we get Cheat Engine to find our addresses for us. And then we can use those either in other scripts, we can use it on the cheat table, or whatever. That's what an injection copy is. It's similar to pointers, multi-level pointers. You're just trying to, this is just another method of finding the address. We want Cheat Engine to find our address, so we ain't constantly having to value scan and do it the hard way. Alright, so what we're going to do is I'm going to label this breath cap 1. And that's just the name of the allocated memory. If you are brand new, I do have a Back to Basics series also that I will put it in the upper right hand corner. Please go take a look at it. I go over everything in this AOB. What everything means, what it's doing, how it does it, why it does it. I try to give you as much information as I possibly can. So hopefully that can help you. I'm taking out the address for any future updates. And like I say, that's why we use AOB scans. It's not really searching for the address via the address. It's searching for it via a unique array of bytes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to allocate memory for our injection copy. And I'm just going to call it BR cap, short for breath cap. And being a 64-bit game, I want to allocate at the least 8 bytes to store our address. And that's what I'm going to do. So, you know, we can do it several ways and everything. We need to make sure that we register a symbol because we are using this outside of this script. We're going to be using this location in another script to write to our current breath. So just down here, we're just going to put register symbol. Oops. Must have spelled that wrong. There we go. Okay, BR cap. Come down here, we need to unregister and deallocate our memory, so let's do that. Put un in front of it. That unregisters it. Then we need to deallocate this memory so we can turn everything off properly. So now we're all set up, and all we really need to do is just have the base address of RSI write to our cap, and it's going to write it in that part of memory that we allocated for it. So we don't really need a label since we already have it in allocated memory, or is the name of its own allocated memory. I'm just telling Cheat Engine move into our symbol, which is our allocated memory of 8 bytes, the base address, which is in this part of memory is located in RSI, because that's what that 25 is. So it don't really matter what offset it is. We're going to use 20C, which is our cap. So let's take a look at it, make sure we didn't make any mistakes. I don't see any right offhand, so that should be good. So we're going to go over here, add that to the current cheat table, and just for tutorial purposes, we're going to make a mental note and a physical note saying this is find breath cap. And we're going to test it by turning it on. And just up here we're going to put BR cap, which is the name of our symbol, plus, remember, we're not using the 25 offset, we're using that 2OC, which was our breath cap. Make sure it's on its correct value type, and we're going to say breath cap. Alright, so let's go back underwater and let's test it. So when it accesses, and hopefully it finds our cap, and you see that it does. Same address, same value. So good. We got one that's locating our cap. So now we can use this symbol that we created in our normal breath script. Whoops, sorry about that. Alright, so we come over here to where our current's being written to, but I'm not going to use that. I'm going to come up here. You can see when we highlight over these that this is being written to a lot faster than being written to right here. And it's not actually being written to, it's actually reading this address and moving it into a registry, or actually comparing that registry. And I want to use that instead, so it don't really matter. So I'm going to use this up here. So let's go ahead and start our AOB injection. And this is for our current breath. And we'll call this, just current breath. And I'll put number 1 just in case we need to make corrections or do a completely new script. I just like keeping them separate, saying, okay, I've already tried this, I'm trying a new one. And I'll just go by 1, 2, and 3. So that's all we really need right now. So we just want to make sure that we get that cap that we've located to write to this address. So how do we do that when it's a completely different part of memory? Well, we're going to use our symbol, but we also need the help of borrowing a registry. And it's just a personal preference. I like to go ahead and use registries that's not currently being utilized in, just the immediate part of memory. But it's just a personal preference. As long as you're pushing and popping things correctly, it really doesn't matter. It's still going to work just fine. So, but I'm going to use RDX. So this is the registry I've chosen to help us out here. And what we're going to do is we're going to move into RDX. I'm going to move in our symbol, which will be holding the base address of our breath cap. So remember, that's the same symbol. So it's located that, and it's going to move it into RDX. But what we need to do right underneath it here is I need to do a quick compare of RDX to 0. And the reason being, if it hasn't found that, remember, it was only really being accessed when we were underwater. So if we turn that code on and we're not underwater, it's not being accessed, there is going to be no address to move into RDX yet. So basically what we're telling it is, if it's a 0 value, just go ahead and jump on the code. Jump if equal to code. So if there is no address in there yet, just go ahead and jump over to code and don't worry about doing anything we put under here. That way it won't crash the game. Alright, so let's say that it has finally found our address and now it moves it into RDX. So it will not meet that condition and we can continue on. So what I want to do is I want to move the entire breath cap value into my borrowed registry. So I'm going to put move into RDX plus 20C. Remember, that was the offset for our breath cap. So let's just go over it again. We're retrieving the base address that we've set in that other script and moving it into our borrowed registry. If it has not found it, just a 0 value in there, just go ahead and jump on the code. If it has found it and there isn't a 0 in RDX, then I need you to take that RDX base registry, go to the 2OC offset and grab the value and then replace it into RDX. And it will do that. So it will see, okay, it's 50 there, so I'll go ahead and put 50 in RDX and just disregard the base address now. So that's what it does. And then we just take that 50 that's in there right now and we're just going to move it into our current breath. Does that make sense? Did I hope I didn't over explain that or under explain that? But does it make I know I'm going to get questions. Why did I use the same registry? Won't that screw it up? No. Right now, it's just holding the information of the base address. We're telling it this is holding the base address. That's what the value of our symbol is the base address of our health cap. We're moving that in there. Now we're telling it that we want that base address plus 2 OC offset, which is our breath cap. We want the value that's there. So when it sees that, it's going to go to that value, look, sees that it's 50, and we want that base address replaced with just that 50. And down here, it's going to take that 50, move it into our current. Doesn't matter. So when it comes back through, it's just going to do it all over again, all over again, all over again. So no, it will not mess up anything. So we need to give the registry that we borrowed back to the system. We popped RDX. Now why did we put it under code and not right here? That's because of this compare. If it is a 0 in RDX and it jumps down here, it's going to also jump over the pop RDX. So we want to make sure it's always popping RDX, making sure that it restores RDX back to its correct value. So hope that makes sense to everybody. Alright, so let's go ahead and assign that to the current cheat table. And let's test this out. Now remember, here's our normal value. This is our current. Let me go ahead and label that current. Current breath. And we already have our breath cap right here. Let me just move that on down here so we can just kind of look at them together right there. Okay. We already have our breath cap on, and this is, we'll just put that as infinite breath. How's that? Infinite breath. So let's go ahead and turn that on. There we go. And what we're watching for, this is our current, this is our cap, and then we're watching this to make sure that does not go down. It stays at 50. Let me bring it down a little more. I can't see it. There we go. Okay, so we go underwater and take a look. Now here's where we can test it some more. Is we go ahead and turn off infinite breath. And you see it starting to go down. So let's go back up. Go back down and let it come off a little bit more. So it's going down. Alright, now it's down to about 42. And let's turn it back on. And when we go back to the game, we want to see that go back to the cap value. Boom, take a look. So we have successfully done that. So sorry about that again. I really need to learn these hotkeys for the new Camtasia as well as the game, because I keep hitting the hotkey up here on the F pad and it keeps closing the game down on me. So sorry about that. So basically what you want to do now, and we know that it works, is we can now combine scripts. So you know how we combine scripts. And basically what I want to do is I'm going to put the infinite breath with the other. So we got to change all our labels so that they're not the same, because they cannot be the same in the same script. So we do that. Let's make sure I didn't make a mistake. I know it can't be compiled, but that's alright. Go ahead and do it anyway. You'll get that error because, you know, I got the fine breath cap off, so it's not actually defined yet. So, but don't worry about that. As long as you've already tested it and it works, you're fine. Alright, so now we can put, because we don't want these to actually be in two separate scripts. We just want, you know, if we make a trainer or something, we just want, you know, our customer, whoever downloads your trainer, to be able to, you know, just turn on one code, get infinite breath, and it's always their cap. Or if it happens to be, you know, instant level ups or whatever, which is you'll be using this more for, you know, it'll be the same. So I ain't got to turn on 14 different hotkeys or match 14 different hotkeys to have one particular cheat happen. Alright, and if you don't know how to do this, how to combine scripts, I do have a video that I will post up here as well on how to merge two different scripts into one. Feel free to go take a look at that. But as you can see, it's real easy. As long as you change your labels, you can just copy everything over. Just put one underneath the other. That should be good. That should be good. Okay, let's go ahead. Yeah, let's go ahead and edit this. Probably get the same error this time as well. Nope, didn't get it there. Okay, so now we put it up here in our breath cat where we merge both scripts together. I'm missing an allocate new mem, so I must ask. Oh, here it is right here. I'm sorry. I hid it from myself. Alright. So I just kind of keep all the allocates together. Control X and Control V. There we go. Now all the outlets are together. There we go. Alright, so go ahead and let's turn that on. There we go. And just see if it finds our breath cat. If it finds the breath cat, we know it's writing 50 to our breath. I didn't do an injection copy on my breath this time, but take a look. It found our breath cat 50, so we have infinite breath now. I actually just forgot to do an injection copy on my breath as well, but I didn't want to confuse anybody since we already did an injection copy, so. But as you can see, we can stay down here and nothing really bad happens, so. There we go. That's how to do it. And like I say, this does come in handy. I do recommend that you try to look for cats and use cats, but it doesn't matter if it's located in the same part of memory or not. That's what these register symbols are for. They can definitely help you. Right off the bat, I'm going to go ahead and thank my partners. These guys keep Cheat the Game going. These are a great bunch of people. I thank you all from the bottom of my heart for donating and being Patreon pals. Jerry, all of you that help out each month. It is really, really appreciated. I'm going to make sure I get you some perks out later on this month. And so bear with me on that and keep a close look at your Patreon. Also, Discord people, donators at Discord, make sure that you check the donation page. And I'll let you know when perks come out. So I thank you all so much. And also you that come out to watch these videos, please place a like on it. The new YouTube algorithm is putting mine and Steven's and Guided Hackies down real low because they're going by likes and dislikes and things like that now, which is fine. It makes no sense to have likes and dislikes because you're going to have haters out there that are going to throw a lot of dislikes on it anyway. So help me combat that. If this is helping you out, please help me out by placing a like on it. It would really help us all out on Steven's videos as well as Guided Hacking. We can keep these videos coming out for you. It really helps us out tremendously. So we consider you guys every bit a part of CTG as anyone else, and we thank you so much for continuing to come out and support us. You guys are awesome. So I want to make sure that you get your credits as well, and thank you so much. Alright guys, I'm out of here, so you all take care. Keep on hacking. Most importantly, please enjoy yourself. That's really what everything is all about. You cheat the game, fellas, because believe me, doesn't mind cheating you. You all take care now.